I'm Prime. Today, I will tell you dishonest signaling in a Fiddler crab. Okay. Let's begin at what is a signal. The signal will appear when animals are during courtship, and males should use the checklist signals that are effectively transmitted and proceed. But it is difficult for females to assess a signaler's qualities as the mate or his fighting ability reliable. So, they use the most easy way. They choose the expensive signal. And there are many kinds of signal, like dance and light, and show the strong for the fight. And this is our leading role today, is Fiddler crab. Okay. Let's introduce Fiddler crab. Waving displays. When they're in a courtship, they wave their claw and to display their major claw long and waving red, and velocity of the wave downstroke. And female receptive females visit several males before staying a male's burrow for mating and oviposition. The male then abandons his burrow and leaving it to his mate. And let's talk about what is the dishonest signal. Okay. The fiddle crab. Males use call long in assessing an opponent's fighting ability and predict mate success. But if they lost the general crabs, then males will regenerate calls that are lighter, more slender, and less robust than the original calves. And the original calves, we call them brachychelous. And the new calves, we call them leptochelous. This and this. Okay. And let's talk about leptochelous and brachychelous. This is a picture. Above is leptochelous and under is brachychelous. And the most scientific appearance on land is Venus. This place. And you can see the leptochelous Venus is shorter than the brachychelous Venus. And we have two experiments. And this is the first experiment. And we capture 100 pairs males and identified their cow type, and leptochelous or brachychelous. And we compared the proportions of same and different cow type spikes to those expecting if males initiate fights without regard to cloud type. And we released 30 males of each cloud type into the population of males. And we recorded the time and distance they traveled until they obtained a new burrow. And the result of the first experiment, no difference between the observed proportions and those expected. This means burrowless males did not preferentially challenge leptochelous residents. And by the record of the released male crabs, the most brachychelous males fought and win burrows, but most leptochelous males occupied empty burrows. Discussion. Leptochelous is less effective weapon, and we know. But however, indicating that burrowless males do not preferentially challenge leptochelous males. And this means leptochelous cows are an effective visual bluff of fighting ability. And this is the second experiment. And we tracked 61 males searching females and catching each male visited by female, especially the male that was eventually chosen as the mate. And the result of the second experiment, the ratio which attracted females to their burrows did not differ from that expected based on the proportion of the two cow types in the surface active population. Let's discuss the second experiment. Leptochelous males pay a lower cost of producing a signal which is just as attractive to females as brachychelous cows produce. So, brachychelous cows have a lower mass, and so brachychelous males can use less energy to wave at a given rate. Thus, even when in relatively poor condition compared with brachychelous males, leptochelous males can wave at the same rate because it's more light than the brachychelous. Yeah. Let's have this conclusion. We were able to show that leptochelous cows effectively bluff fighting ability as well as deceiving females as to the true cost males pay in order to produce courtship signals. And the results of this study imply that cheating may be common but usually undetectable. And this is my presentation of dishonest signaling in a Fiddler crab. Thanks for your listening, and we have Queer and Cards next.
Nine minutes, 50 seconds. You have to speak louder.
Okay. In the introduction, you mentioned about the expensive signal. So I'm interested in how to define the expensive and cheap signal. So
you have to say that is more expensive than. So if the two crabs and one crab wave more fast than than another, and the faster crab is have the more expensive signal. Okay.
Okay. Echo.
I wonder what makes the differences between the brachychelous and the brachychelous.
Sorry, can you repeat again?
You have to speak loud.
Sorry. I mean, I wonder what makes the differences between
leptochelous and brachychelous. And the leptochelous have the in this picture.
No, I know this picture, but I mean, is there any things to have a strong conclusion about?
Brachychelous is more strong than leptochelous because it had the experiment. They try the leptochelous and brachychelous, and the mass of brachychelous are more heavier.
So what makes the differences?
Next difference is the
Can you answer that?
I can answer it with Chinese. Sorry for my poor English.
Okay, we'll move on. Sarah. Stop.
My question is, where was the place you did the experiment?
We did an experiment in Mozambique, and then in Ireland. Okay.
The last one is Cortina. Stop.
How did you know leptochelous regenerate from the lost class?
And there's an experiment that they atomize the brachychelous, and the leptochelous regenerates from the place they cut the brachychelous.
You get it? Okay, on to your question, Annie. Nan?
The question is the waving rate is the only factor to separate the expensive signal and the cheap signal?
Sorry, can you repeat again?
Is waving rating is the only factor to separate expensive signal and the cheap signal?
No. And
So it's not the faster you move and the expensive signal part.
I can match your question. And can you repeat it for me again? Sorry.
I mean, if I'm wave my cloud faster, so it means the signal is more expensive or not?
Yes, because you use more energy.
So it's the only factor to influence the waving rate, or
Waving rate.
waving rate,
Rate.
waving speed.
Waving speed.
Waving speed.
The waving phase and waving rate is the same thing.
I mean, or I mean, another factor. If I use more power to wave my cloud, it means it's the expensive.
It also can be expensive. I have told that. Waving rate and also measure cloud length and velocity of the wave downstroke. It has many vectors.
I cut the discussion here. Any volunteer question? Any volunteer question? Okay, my turn. Okay, I will start when he's opening his paper file. I think at the beginning, the good thing about his talk is you see that he's using his body language to explain some concept, but at some point I feel that you are not familiar enough with the script. So that's something that can be improved next time. And I think what's missing in the talk was, actually, I think when I was reading the paper yesterday, I think you have chosen a very attractive material to present because this can be interesting. And you can see some similarity between Fiddler crab and maybe human beings. But if you look at your slides, you can see that it is not, the first thing you notice, you have only 2 slides with image. And that's not enough. For example, I'm sure if you go to YouTube and key in Fiddler crab, you can find a lot of image to show they are waving their claws. So this will enrich your presentation. You don't need to show the waving for 1 minute, but 10 seconds is enough. And so first you can see in your introduction, you really need more image to introduce because I wonder how many people know there are Fiddler crab found in the swamp, the 沼泽蟹. Yeah, so please add more image. And then, starting from experiment 1, we start to see awkward sentence like this one. No difference between the observed proportions and those expected. I really have no idea what the sentence is about. So I would assume this is actually the sentence from the paper, and it's not really very in your own words to explain a thing that the authors has done in the experiment. So based on the sentence, I don't know what is that experiment. So you need to improve. You have seen in previous talk how people present their experiment. You either add more image, or you use the chart plot. You use the sorry. You use the chart plot, which means 流程图, to show, okay, in the experiment, the first step is this, second step that, and so on and so on. Avoid this kind. I don't know what has been done actually, based on the sentence. Then Then you introduce this. But I have to say at some point, if I lose a little bit attention or focus, then I don't remember what is what. You know, brachychelous and leptochelous. Probably you can always add original and regenerated claw. Then it's easier for the audience to remember. And then a major weakness of the presentation is you can see that you did not add any data. No table, no figure.
There is no table and data in
Truly.
these two experiments. The table 1, table 2, and the feature 1.
How about this?
It's about the first experiment and the second experiment, but I presented the third experiment and the fourth experiment. Yes.
How about this?
This is for the first experiment.
But you talk about experiment 1, or your experiment 1 is the
I talk about
experiment 3.
experiment. The experiment 1 in my PPT is experiment 3, the third experiment.
Yes. So for your results, they did not. I thought this should be related to
experiment 2.
2.
The second experiment. It had 5 experiments in the paper.
But maybe in the experiment there should be some numbers, you know, in the text. If they don't have table and figure, then there might have some number like this.
Okay.
Then you should at least present some number. Otherwise, it's a little bit like you base your argument on nothing. You know, results. Where's the results? Which ratio? So it's like that we don't see any number. So that's something you should add. If you say there's no, and consider that, and also consider that you didn't make 10 minutes. I would say whenever possible, you should. I don't know if you present something that would allow you to present a figure. Please present something from the paper. Otherwise, it seems like you don't have any data at all. You just make a story, a little bit like that. So it's important to use data. Okay. So your experiment 1 to add some figure, add some number.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, so let's thank Charlie.